rejoice, I will rejoice and be glad in it, and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day, this is the day that the Lord hath made. This is the day, this is the day that the Lord hath made, that the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it, and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day, this is the day that the Lord hath made.
Good morning. Good to see you, and I miss you guys. Today we're going to have our chapel. Right behind me, you can see this, and this is called the funeral pall. P-A-L-L, pall, funeral pall. We use this whenever we have funerals, and then we put this funeral pall on top of casket. Don't worry about it. This is not a real casket right here, just a table here. So just make sure, don't get too excited. But I want to show you this funeral pall. It's very beautiful and it has a cross here. And on the top, this says resurrection, resurrection. We put this on the funeral pall and we begin our funeral service, and we'll put it back of the church, and then we'll process in, and we'll put a casket right in front of the chancel area. So why do we have funeral pall on a casket? Have you been to a funeral before? It's not a lot of times you go to funerals, you see people crying, they feel sad. Why is that? Because our loved ones, they died, our friends, they died. We miss them very much. Do you know Jesus been to funerals before? He has good friends as a family, actually. We're talking about Mary and her sister Martha and their brother Lazarus. And one time, as Jesus was traveling from village to village, town to town to share the good news, and Martha and Mary sent a messenger to Jesus telling Jesus that their brother Lazarus, is very sick. And Jesus said, okay. And he stayed there a little bit longer. And then next thing he knew that Lazarus has died. Let me read to you from John chapter 11, verse 17 through 27. Here says Jesus, on his arrival, Jesus found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. In other words, Lazarus had died. And now Bethany was less than 2 miles from Jerusalem, and many Jews had come to Martha and Mary to comfort them in the loss of their brother. Just like funeral today, when people die, we go there to comfort them. They say, "Oh, we feel this, feels bad for you. We want to pray for you." A lot of people doing that to Mary and Martha. And when Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went to meet Jesus. But Mary stayed at home. And the Lord, Martha said to Jesus, "If he had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now, God will give you whatever you ask." And Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise again." And Martha answered, "I know he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day." And Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die. And whoever lives and by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this?" "Yes, Lord," Martha replied. "I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who is to come into the world." At this funeral, when everyone is crying, when everyone feels hopeless, Jesus gave Martha this message: I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die. Isn't that very strange? We see Lazarus dead, but Jesus said, no, I am the resurrection, and whoever believes in me will not die. How about the body there is laying there? Well, remember, God created us. God gave us life. In this world, we see death as because result of sin. We know the wages of sin is death. That's why everyone's going to die. I'm going to die one day. You're going to die one day. But there's a difference. There's a difference between those who believe in Jesus and those who don't believe. God has promised us that whoever believes in him shall not die. Remember, when our last breath comes, when we close our eyes, and guess what's going to happen? When we open our eyes again, we will see Jesus. We will be in heaven with Jesus. And that's the difference between those who believe and those who don't believe. We know death is just a moment, and when we open our eyes, because what Jesus has promised us, those who believe in him shall not die. And the funeral pall that we use is to remind people that, you are not being baptized. And when the person is being baptized, just like Paul says in Romans chapter 6, those being baptized, being drawn with Jesus and died with Jesus, and also rose again with Jesus. And that's the joy, the hope that we have. Yes, in baptism, God has claimed us to be his children. And you and I, we had joy. We know that death has no power over us because our Jesus Christ has won the victory for us. That's why we put a funeral pall on the casket, claim that this is a child of God being baptized in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit. Well, may God go with you, especially during this time. Amen.
When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, my richest gain I count but loss, and pour contempt on all my pride. Forbid it, Lord, that I should boast, save in the death of Christ my God. All the vain things that charm me most, I sacrifice them to his blood. See from his head, his hands, his feet, sorrow and love flow mingled down. Here such love and sorrow meet, orphans compose so rich a crown. Were the whole realm of nature mine, that were a tribute far too small. Love so amazing, so divine, demands my soul, my life, my all.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Now the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you, be gracious unto you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you his peace.